Ever forget to wash something so you just pull it out of the hamper? How many times have the kids run out of clean underwear? And forget trying to remember the last time the sheets and blankets were even washed. Leave the guesswork and uncertainty behind and download my PDF guide right now. In this new guide I created, I walk you through step by step on how to plan and schedule your laundry items so that you'll have peace of mind knowing there's a plan to follow. When there's a plan, there's no extra thinking involved on your part. I also provide you with the tips and tricks on how to get kids started and involved. Included in this PDF guide is an example of what our laundry schedule looks like right now, so you have an idea of how it all works. Don't let laundry overload you anymore. Take control and let this guide do the thinking for you. Head to diannejimenez.com/laundry schedule. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Parenting Guide Organizing Habits Made Easy podcast. You're listening to episode number 39, the behind the scenes of my solopreneur and mom life. This episode will be very different from anything I've released before because I'm taking you behind the scenes of what's been going on as a mom of kids in different schools, a wife partnering up with her husband for a special project we hope will help many families out there, a CEO of our home, and the impact on entrepreneur life, but mainly my podcast show. In this episode, I get raw and real and basically just paint a picture of my journey these last few months. So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's less on parenting, organizing, or teaching life skills, my usual stuff, but more of a view of the human behind the mic and camera. Enjoy. Parenthood is challenging enough as it is, and getting organized sounds easier said than done. Now, combine these two together, and it's truly a balancing act that many of us struggle with day in, day out. If you're here, it's because you want to know how to get your life and home more organized and structured where the kids are involved too, so that parent life is a little easier and you can focus on what truly matters. Hey there, I'm Dianne Jimenez, owner and founder of One Tidy Place. I created this podcast because I know parents have their hands full. I know this because I have 3 kids of my own. Each week, we'll talk about all things organizing, teaching kids life skills, and contributing to the home, being on the same page with your partner, and raising your kids together while you tidy up, go out for a walk, or just need some real talk. I'm here for you. Thank you for tuning in. Are you ready? Let's do this. Can I just say, is it me or did this whole school year just fly by? I can't remember much of last fall, but it really did zip by right after spring break. And now it's been absolutely wild this last month, especially these last few weeks, with the end of the year special events and activities in and outside of the school for my kids. And I can tell you it was a heck of a lot easier when they were all under one roof, meaning all in elementary school. But with our oldest in high school, wow, it's a whole other type of busy, not just physically, but mentally, 100%. Then there was preparing for and attending the last meetings before summer with my professional organizers group that I volunteer for and am the chair for our Montreal chapter. So there were a lot of loose ends to cover and set up for the fall and winter months before the summer break. And if you follow me on social media, just this last week, my husband and I made it public knowledge that we will be creating a new course that will come out at the end of the summer. And as crazy and scary as it was to let people know about it, it's something we believe needs to be put out there. The course will be about teaching parents how to create a quote-unquote chore/activity chart kids can stick to, and so can they. This would be for parents of school-age kids specifically. So we announced the other week for limited time only that we were pre-enrolling our first 10 students at a very discounted rate in exchange for their feedback. So as of Monday night this week, we're thrilled to have 9 spots filled. Did I mention scary? Yeah, scary because it's about sharing what we know and teaching it. The scary part is you don't want to screw it up. But like anything, it takes a first draft and then we can only move up from there, right? So if you're listening to this right now and you're wondering, hey, I didn't know about this and I'd like to know more about it, well, no worries. I'll add a clickable link in today's show notes where you can sign up and be part of the waitlist. Or you can head to diannejimenez.com/course after this episode. And this way, when all the news comes out about the course, you'll definitely be one of the first to know about it and get in. Next, trying to get a podcast episode out. Embarrassingly enough, my last episode was released at the end of May, and the next one was supposed to come out June 10th. Clearly, it didn't because of everything I'm listing here, and then some. But I did manage to record something, it just wasn't ready on time, and now I'm going to move it to a later date or something like that because I just listened to it and it's not quite what I want it to be. Anyhow. And finally, life kept happening, from kids getting sick, gastro, to family visiting from out of town, to a late night trip to the ER, only to find out I have fibroids. But my appendix and kidneys are A-okay, so that's good. And don't worry, I've made an appointment with my gyno, so all of that stuff will be taken care of very soon. So fun. The life of a mom entrepreneur, it's definitely not like what you see on social media and not as smooth as I'd like it to be. However, I know this is all going to be worth it down the road. Plus, I love what I'm doing. I love doing this, sharing with you and being real when it comes to parenthood, our mindset, being a woman, a mom, and entrepreneur. So, on that note, school's out for us living here in the province of Quebec. As I record this, it is the first day of summer vacation. The kids are home, and it's also a long weekend for us Quebecers. So that means the husband's home too. So if you hear any kind of weird noises, it's probably him in the garage, or hear any kind of drilling sounds. He's building his barbecue shed in the backyard, and our bedroom is at the back of the house and above the garage. In case you didn't know, and just to be clear, my office/studio is right here in our room. Fancy, huh? Now, this is the second summer since the launch of my podcast show, and I remember last year, despite all the good intentions and even mentioning it on the episode before the summer hit last year, I warned my audience that my episodes would be released less frequently because the kids were home. Pool life was about to start again, meaning mom life was about to be amped up, which also meant biz life was taking a back burner, but not completely shutting down. Well, that summer came. We had a lot of fun. I gave myself grace because the thought of my podcast being put on hold was always on my mind. And I have to admit, in hindsight, it was bugging me. So the summer flew by and we had to prepare ourselves mentally for the next season and new beginnings, such as our oldest entering his first year of high school. It started out smoothly until there was a whole issue with the transportation company and the buses. Oh my gosh. Long story short, I was in a group chat with other moms for a good month and a half, scheduling and coordinating carpools for our kids. Yeah, fun. On top of all their extracurricular activities that my son was interested in doing and very well participated in them. So September also meant volunteering picked back up again with the professional organizers in Canada with our monthly meeting preparations and presentations. Also, working at the school started too, so my schedule took another adjustment. I was happy though for the structure, to be honest, because from there I was able to see the pockets of time where I can work on my business. So it was kind of like a break. No, not a break, but kind of like a relief that I didn't have to be on all the time as I was during the summer, which means I'm getting into that right now. But going back to last summer, you know when something good happens and then you've got more good things flowing in? Well, I acquired a new client with an ongoing job helping her and her family get their entire home organized. It's still going on today, and I'm so thankful to be able to have this opportunity, but mostly to help them get more clarity, structure, and peace of mind down the road. So the first episode only launched after that long pause last year was in November 2022. I forget if it was at the beginning, the middle, or the end, but there was a good 5 months between episodes. Ugh. And now and again, the thought of not putting content out there during that time, like I mentioned before, was bugging me, but I also couldn't let it make me feel defeated, even when I saw my stats drop significantly when I released more episodes afterwards. And to be quite open and about this with you, it's still taking a while for them to pick back up. But that's okay. So I might as well slide it in right here, right now, since I'm talking about it. If you've been a listener since the very beginning, whether it's right after the episode gets launched, or you're coming in now and again, and you find my episodes helpful, insightful, enlightening, or relatable in some way, please post a positive review and hit follow or subscribe in whichever platform that you're listening to. And just so you know, by doing this, it will help not only my stats and my ego, but when you do follow or subscribe, it'll bring my show up on the algorithm chain and get more eyeballs seeing it. So that just means more parents who need that guidance, clarity, and just to feel seen and heard will see my podcast show up in their feed. Okay, I'll stop. I just had to put it out there. Now, speaking of releasing the episodes, I also tried to do what I did before, earlier that year when my podcast first came out back in February 2022. And that was to release an episode weekly. Honestly, it was really tough. Like really, really challenging. So I made the decision earlier this year in February, I think, which happened to be the 1-year anniversary of the release of my podcast show. And that was to slow down and only release an episode every 2 weeks in hopes to give me more time to prepare and give you quality content. That's always been a goal of mine and will forever be. And here we are today, 1 month since my last episode, still giving myself grace because it's me doing this on my own, without a team yet, and still trying to balance everything else out. Now, the point of this whole episode was to give you a behind-the-scenes look at what's been going on lately. I thought I'd give you a rundown of the last month, but it turns out it's been a whole year process filled with trials, setbacks, reframe, and then trying again, especially around my podcast. Why? Because it's where people get to hear from me in long form. Sure, I do post images and videos on Instagram and Facebook, but it's merely a glimpse, a snapshot, if you will. And that's true for any social media post out there. At least here on this platform, you hear me, my voice, my journey, and I hope you can relate somewhat. So where do I go from here? What happens next with this podcast? Well, if I don't want things to turn out like last year where I went MIA for almost 6 months, I need to make a plan. And that plan has to make sense for the season I'm in right now, which is summer, and that my kids have a certain capability and understanding of what I also do aside from being just their mom. So the plan is to draw out the areas that involve my focus and attention. From the kids' pool schedule and activities, jiu-jitsu practices and competition, meal prep, client work, our vacation later in July, spending time with friends and family, taking my mom out on her errands. Then there's also spending alone time, just me and 𝘠𝘞𝘡, and us working on the course together, as well as podcast episode creation and releasing. Seems like a lot just saying it out loud right now. But notice how I didn't mention cleaning or organizing. To me, this is ongoing. There's no plan for it. It just has to be maintained. Thankfully, my kids follow the chore/activity chart 𝘠𝘞𝘡 and I created. And are they perfect at it? Some days, yes. And other days, there's more repeating to do, and sometimes it's followed with frustration. But what's parent life without repetition and frustration, right? To be completely honest, this is the first summer the kids will be following the chart. However, it shouldn't be any different from how it was during the school year. I can tell you that I did change a few tasks here and there that make sense at this time of the year, and already, the first day of summer vacation, it's working. For now. But all this to say is whatever we're planning and experiencing now with it will be of benefit for our course and the students who will enroll in it. So don't forget, you can get it on that wait list today just by heading to diannejimenez.com/course. So back to planning my summer. If you're anything like me and need to see this all visually, I typically draw it out on the planner I've been using for years by W. Maxwell. I didn't know this when I first got this at Costco years ago, but it's from a Montreal-based company, and I'm pretty happy about that. But what I love the most about it is that I can draw out the blocks of time where I'm busy and see what that looks like over the course of a week. This helps a ton to see where the pockets of free time are versus the busier times. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed the behind the curtains view and a glimpse of what mom and entrepreneur life has been like these last few months for me. I appreciate your positive reviews and follows. Like I said, it'll boost my podcast show up to more eyeballs, aka parents like you. All right, my friend, thank you so much for being here and taking me along with you. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.